Hello there, and welcome to another challenge results video. This time it is Goblins and Gnomes, with lots of goblins and not so many gnomes. Mags, how have you found this challenge? Seeing all the entries.
So I did what I usually do. I kind of stay out of the chat that is dedicated for it. So some of these, of course, I had seen because they kind of tend to leak out into general painting a bit. And some of them I've actually seen because, if people are in a feedback tier, they sometimes use it for, am I in the right direction and whatnot? And I don't always kind of like put two and two together and, okay, so it's for this thing. I just look at it and I'm like, okay, more of this or less of that.
I'm seeing a lot of goblins in feedback.
Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised by a fair few of these entries, actually.
Nice.
A great ones in there. Yeah.
They are, absolutely. So let us crack through, and at the end we do have an announcement in terms of what is coming on the horizon for next month's challenge, which will be May. But these are community challenges that we run every month. If you want to get involved, it's for members of the community. So via our Patreon, we change it up every month, and we do these to hype up the entries and to show that month's winner. So without further ado, let's dive into it, starting with Andres, please, I believe. Wonderful. This lovely Blood Bowl Goblin. I remember nearly buying this piece when I was looking at Blood Bowl minis, but I went for good old blessed Nurgle. But I think one of the things I really like about it is just rife with saturation. Obviously, we only see one view on these, so by all means, check out usernames to go find people on Instagram and other places, but Goblin, rife with saturation and menace. I think this is a nice, lovely piece, and certainly the way that the highlight is drawn straight to the face, like a good mix of painting and posing. About you?
I mean, I quite like that it has a bit of skin variation in like nose and lips and whatnot. And another thing that I can then highlight that we don't see here is that he has some vials and stuff on his belt. They are really well rendered because you can see that they're in kind of like a glass flask with a thick bottom, and they're really nicely painted, which is not an easy thing to do. So well done on that.
I did a vial once, and that was enough for
me.
Yeah. Wonderful. Next up is Brad with, I mean, Mushrooms with Eyes is a new meta game. First time I looked at it, there is something about goblins that makes people want to have fun, which I really enjoy. And you definitely see it as the faces on the mushrooms. The color selection is really nice. This almost Twilight Forest, and then that scythe which draws the eyes, contrasting with the blood moon. It is kind of like both fun and menacing in a way that I think goblins should be.
Yes, I agree completely. It's like goblins are one of my favorites. Absolutely are. They are like you can get away with some things that you can't on other models, right? Colors and fun and a bit of critters and everything. I quite like that this one is you have a fair bit of saturation, but because of the model itself having this steel armor, it's not too overpowering. So I quite like how it's everything is kind of like tied together. It has a bit of blue on the scythe itself, which is my favorite thing on this model.
Yeah, good understanding of the NMM is reflecting the world. It's not just light. Think about it. Lesson that you've told me a few times. Carsten, Son of Onion Hammers. This thing is nasty. So there are a lot of like goblin busts out there. There's another one coming up, which I find equally terrifying. Like, this is grim. This is like the kind of thing that I see in my nightmares. So I think the thing that stands out is understanding the shift in light, very clear sense of light direction, and seeing that reflected across the mini in the multitudinous shades of green, how it kind of shifts from a warm green to a slightly colder green is really lovely to see. Yeah,
I agree. I think the eyes are my favorite part. They are just so striking, and you immediately want to look there.
Yeah.
I get that usually, as we are humans, we tend to look for the eyes because it's where we draw a connection. But it's definitely something you can kind of screw up if you paint wrong, or if you deliberately don't want that, of course. But yeah, I think it's really well done. It's the first thing that you see, and it has so much life.
Absolutely lovely entry from Carsten. Colin with the Spiramirbilis bust. A beautiful bust that I've seen many times, and yet I always enjoy seeing it and all the different variations on it. I think I always like to pick the one thing. The face is like a really obvious one for me, but I'm going to go to that shield. I really like painting old wood tones. It's just one of those things that gives me joy because you mix a bit of browns, a bit of greens, a bit of umbers. And then obviously slapping a little bit of a GG logo on will always, if I was judging, like this would be the immediate like play to the judges. It's really tasty work.
Yeah. I want to highlight the metallics, I think, especially like the helmet and the shine on the chest. It's a fine balance of too shiny or not shiny enough. And I really think it works for those elements. It is tough. It's because you want it to look a bit banged up and not super polished, but still you want it to look shiny, right?
Yeah, reader's metal, not just like weird granite. It's just so hard to get right. It's a lovely piece. Definitely, as we were talking about in the community, like scratches, something I find really difficult. This helmet is perfectly scratched. So kudos to you, Colin. Cyril with I've seen this mini in person, not this particular mini, but like this paint job from Cyril, but this miniature, and oh boy, it is tiny. It is tiny. And so to see it rendered with the detail and like this lovely mushroom base, really nice. I think my favorite thing across the board is actually the color scheme, a mix of like nice bold saturations, then muted colors. Personally, really works for me. And I think it just pulls the model together tightly. It's a good example of like nice color theory, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree. This is an old pewter model. It's tiny and it's a tough one to paint in every sense, and I quite like that it has this feel of like an old piece, like the color selection and everything. It's lovely. Excuse me. It's
You're
getting
it's allergy season now, isn't it?
It really is.
Oh, no, very, very nice entry, Cyril. So good it made Magnus sneeze, so you're onto something.
Yeah.
David, back from long hiatus, throws in a mini.
Yes.
Bold choice. I love it. I think the thing that stand out for me is something that you called out in a previous piece, but with Goblin skin, and I guess it's true for Orc skin as well, having that really nice shift into pinks, like on the knuckles, on the elbow, on the face. You see here how much life it breathes into what ordinarily would be quite a simplified piece. But it is an entry that I think is utterly dripping with mood as well. Like you get the sense of the dark forest this dude is in and how you have made a terrible mistake upon stumbling.
Yeah, the red striking eyes, right? Right in the center of that focal point. And I agree, even though like that skin variation to a bit of pink is almost like becoming meta now. Yes. That always is there, but almost always is there. But it's still it is a bit of a tough balance. I think it's done really well on knuckles, especially like elbows, knuckles, stuff like that, where it's not too much and it's not too little. So you can clearly tell that what it's supposed to be, and it's not like you still have to blend it into it. And this one is not a big model, right? It's a small thing,
tiny goblins.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, really nice entry, David. Grey from Grey's Plastic. Another, like, maybe it's mandatory that we just have everyone do a Roman and put a coin in as well, just so people can appreciate the scale. I know how small this guy is. It would be near impossible for me not to say how much I enjoy the bronze with the verdigris. Mainly because I'm a bit of a slut for bronze and verdigris. I just always enjoy seeing it and putting it around the rivets, in like sensible places on the middle, not overdoing it, using it as a balance. I think it's a really, really nice use of minimum bronzes.
Yeah, and the kicker is almost to that verdigris that I know he did a test, like a real life test, where he took a copper piece and then he put it into a solution and gave it verdigris so he could kind of mimic the colors and patching. I really like the wood grain. It has a slight bit of green from below too. I really like that. That is my favorite thing on this. On this thing.
Good, kind of like situating it in the world, kind of.
Yeah,
nice, wonderful entry, Graham. Well done. So I was speaking about terrifying busts, and here is the second one.
Yeah,
I want to know what's wrong with these people. Why they build these nightmare creatures with goblins? But I mean, lovely entry from Kim. As horrifying as I find it, I think I'm going to do the inverse of what you did on the last bus and echo the eyes point here. That nice catchlight in there. They're kind of menacing, not inviting. Yes. And how that slight ring of red underneath them just kind of really beds in the idea that this is not someone you would want as a friend necessarily, as you make goblin friends, but how that is pulled across really, really well in the paint job. Yeah,
I agree. A fun fact about this one is that he did some beautiful looking eyes and they were purple, and he was like, do you think it works? And I was like, maybe not. So he changed them to yellow and it worked much, much better because it fits within the theme. I really like the colors in the like kind of muted tones. So you don't have anything but the eyes and the end of the blunt or whatever it is, that kind of stands out in a colorway. I really like that, and the volumetric highlight on the. I don't know if it is a mushroom hat or whatever it is.
I thought it was an acorn. I'm not 100%. It's a weird hat there, regardless.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I really like the texture, but still keeping to the volumetric highlights.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, good entry, Kim. Mr. Frostblight, who has developed a reputation in a lot of these challenges for doing punchy AF saturated colors. Yeah. And oh boy, we are back there and I love it. There is, when I kind of first saw this piece coming together, I was thinking about that moon and how hard it is to really like draw the eye without it being completely overwhelming for the rest of the mini. I think this has done it successfully, and I just love that hot orange bounce under that gold of the moon. It's so tasty. It really kind of situates it in place for me. Probably my favorite bit here.
Yeah, I would say this challenge is almost perfect for their style. Like because of the colors, and you can be a bit bolder, I guess. Yeah, I think that the favorite thing for me is still like that roasted mushroom and the same in his mouth. I really like that. Yeah, it even looks like it's roasting.
Yes, yeah. You're seeing it kind of crisping up while it's still perfectly good on top. I mean, odd that that's just in this guy's armor, but I'm not here to critique the sculpt. It's cool. Goblins are cool. You just got to lead into it. Liam with one of Rogue Mini's goblin creatures. These things are weird. I hadn't seen them before, but it's really an invitation for something like cartoony and beautiful. Yes. Yet the thing I would really want to call out here, and certainly the thing I like, is the base. When you look at the mini, this is a base that like suits it really, really well. And then understanding like how you need to balance the color saturation so that the mini still stands to the fore, how it's well situated, how it's like got a little bit of wet effects, but not too much because it doesn't need it, frankly. It's a really good understanding of how to make the base pop to the level it needs to without going over the top, I think.
I quite like that this is almost like a like the start of a style that you can perfect. Like you have, because it's a very distinct look. Yes. The cartoony feel, and not too many people do it.
No.
Because we sometimes get a bit hung up on like either we go realism or fantasy or whatever. But yeah, I really enjoy looking at something because this is different in terms of style. Kind of like heavy metal is different from moody realism and whatever. Yeah. I really like that. Well done.
Yeah, really, really nice entry, Liam. Kudos. And actually, this one I found it in our spam filter. So I'm very sorry, Liam, that it was spammed initially, but I've rectified that. Yeah. I need to find that white void that you take photos in. Matthias Schifux, a fellow Golden Demoner with you. And also the first gnome that we've had in this competition. It's the sandwich. It has to be the sandwich. Yes, it's beautifully painted. Yes, the color selection is really nice with the greens and yellows and how both of those are reflected in the skin tones. But for me, I just like the fact that you put a goddamn sandwich in it. I love it. Full of personality and suits the gnome aesthetic. So yeah, I really like this.
Yeah. I will say that first off, it's small, like gnomes and goblins they are. The face on this one is tiny and it's really well done. It is my favorite thing on it. Like you even got a bit of like redness on the nose, and it looks fairly soft, even though you do need some contrast on it for it to not get lost. So yeah, well done on that.
Getting a catch light in that eye would have not been fun.
No.
Kudos. Ron, I'm very sorry. You did put a coin in your photo. Yeah, and I didn't put it in because I wanted to show off this mini to its full to its full extent. But it's small. It's roughly the size of a €1 coin if you have one available to you. But if you don't worry about it. I love, personally, this boy has a lot of stippling in it, like nice stippling on the skin, on the stones, on the grot skin, whatever the hell it is that they're wearing. I'm a big fan of stippling. I think the execution here is really nice.
Squig, right?
Squig, thank you very much. Oh God, the law police will be after me again. But then doing all of that and then still remembering to do your black lining to create clear separation between the elements. Really nice.
Yeah, and I also, a couple of things, 2 things here. I like the colors. So you have some things going on, but not too much. So the yellows are muted, and then you have kind of like the green and the pinks to be your 2 colors. You put the magenta-ish pinks in the faces too, so it kind of ties everything together. And specifically for the pink, it's actually not that easy to paint something pink without it looking like very jarring. So having that kind of salmon highlight to it makes it look a bit less jarring. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, good work, Ron.
Yeah.
The second gnome in the competition from Russell. And again, I know we keep saying this, but we have to keep saying it. These things are small. Pretty much anything that like is in this challenge, I think could have also gone in the critter challenge when we're judging by height.
Close to it at least, yes.
Definitely. For me, it's easy with this piece. It is the antlers. I like them.
Yeah.
Bit of texture, getting the ends in. They've got pigeons there. What's not to like about them?
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is actually the fur texture on the elk. What is it? No, it's a deer.
I think it's an elk. Oh no, we'll have the law police and the animal police.
Yeah.
Deer, elk, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever the creature is. I quite like the fur texture and the way that it kind of shifts in tone a slight bit. So it has areas that are a bit more orangey and some that are a bit redder. is really nice.
Really good entry, and I see that pigeon there with that red and yellow card, and you can go outside the lines. I know how this. Good job. And Jan, the Tired Brush, who I think is the final entry, but also was the first entry that we received in for the challenge, which I don't know. Start with the end, go back to the beginning. Love it. So what I like about this is it kind of stands in inverse to a lot of what we've seen, which is like the more fantastical, the sometimes the cartoony, but this is like gritty and real and scary.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to kind of, as someone that kind of has a love for this particular style and like what it can do for like storytelling for me, having those volumes so well rendered, that skull on the staff looks mean and nasty.
Yeah.
Like this is not a good place to be. It is dripping with atmosphere, this piece. I really love it.
Especially so because what we can see here is the back shot of it has more of a blue light. So it's almost like it is like in two palettes. Is really, really nice, and it has some fantastic texture on the cloak from the back. I think my favorite things are still going to be the cast shadow, like the cast shadow on the stomach. It has a cast shadow on the leg. It's so lovely because it's exactly subtle enough that you don't really realize it before you realize it.
Yes.
Like it just fits there. And suddenly you're like, oh, from this angle, it's still there.
Yes.
I guess it is a painted on cast light, huh?
Yeah. Because I thought that when I first saw this view, and I was like, oh, it's just a single light, and it's the shadow from the light, and then there's multiple angles. Like, oh no, you've painted this on. You've painted it on, and then also the hand one on the leg.
Yeah,
is so well detailed as well for a cast shadow. Like another piece this size, it is particularly tasty. But I think it is now time to see our winners.
Yes.
And so our bronze awards: David, Russell, Kim, and Brad. I think we have 4. I'm just going to check over.
Yes,
yep. So these are our 4. Mags, what made these your bronze picks?
We felt like they had the sufficient amount of rendering and detail, and they were like complete pieces in a sense that they work with the environment or lighting.
Yeah.
So they were our picks for. I will say though, it wasn't easy.
No.
It
didn't look like an easy challenge to judge from me particularly. Certainly when you don't have, like, in the grand scheme of things, I was thinking it was like 14 entries, something like that. That is it's not a huge amount. But regardless, David, Russell, Kim, and Brad, well done. Congratulations on your bronze as we move to our silver winners, which are Cyril and Colin. The 2 C's are our silver winners.
Yes, exactly.
What was the bump up?
So I think for us it was just a bit of a tighter finish. So we had a slight bit of a raised level, I think, from the others to these. Like some of the details had a bit more attention. On these 2.
Yeah, and that, I guess, like month by month, that is always like a key differentiator, which is very tricky in a month-long challenge, like to push that rendering, but it really does help the piece stand out. So Cyril and Colin, congratulations on hitting silver. And our gold winners for this month are Jan and Lee.
Yeah,
both stunning pieces. What was the push to?
And the funny thing is, it's 2 pieces that are really like different.
Yes.
Like one is in a muted kind of palette and very moody and whatnot. And the other is very fantasy goblin.
Yeah.
I think for these ones, it was just acing most everything that went on the models. It wasn't too much to kind of like point towards, oh, this shouldn't look maybe like this, or the lighting would fall like that, or whatever it is. So these are really complete in that sense that, of course, you can always tweak something, but these were nailing most everything of what they put on the quote unquote canvas.
Yeah, no, both beautiful pieces, and as you say, Magnus, both very different stylistically, which shows kind of the range that's possible for Goblins and Gnomes. But there is only one best of show every month, and this month it is going to Jan for a stunning piece. I mean, what do you want to say about this? You've not already, Mags, because it's a bit special.
Yeah, I think for me it is actually quite special. So many things are going right, and like it's almost like every piece of or every detail and every area of the piece kind of works with the next one. It feels really coherent in the sense that it is less like section by section by section. It feels like everything kind of flows into the same picture. This could have been a digital drawing too, if you only saw this specific angle, for example, for the artwork of something like that, right? So I really enjoy that, and as I said before, the 2 tones of light is quite special. I would encourage anyone to go in and, of course, look at all the entries, but this one in particular is very interesting from the back angle too.
Certainly, like if you were doing a study on moonlight as well, I think it'd be really good to look at. It's very well done. So, Jan, congratulations for our best of show. We'll be asking you to serve as a judge for a future competition, but not for May, and not for, it'll be probably for June for that vote. But that leads us on. We close Goblins and Gnomes. Yes. Wonderful entries, beautiful entries. Thank you so much for taking part. But it all changes next month because we are doing a collaboration with the fine folks. I have to say folks, because definitely more than one, from Phoenix Miniatures, where we're going to be doing a group community challenge with Phoenix's community, of which the theme is cute. Yeah. That is the theme. Get ready, get your submissions, get your models bought, and until next time, we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.